Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Juan Rodriguez, your host for the Allyz Community podcast. Today, we're going to have an amazing podcast. We have a great friend of ours and a colleague and one of my allies on our corner. His name is Andrew Irvin with Irving and Irving Law here in Winter Park, Florida. Welcome, Andrew. How are you?
I'm doing well, Juan. It's good to be back.
Excellent, excellent. And that's the purpose of this podcast. This podcast was developed so we could help to educate and empower and edify the consumer in when they're in need and they're looking for information so they can make informed decisions. So if you got this podcast, it's either because you were referred by somebody who's either repairing your car or you have your vehicle at a repair facility. It could be Allyz Auto or one of our allies all over the country that are pro-consumer, pro-fairness, and they're just trying to give you the tools so you can make informed decisions. And that's why this podcast was it was born. It's all about you, the consumer. I'm in Orlando, Florida, and we're trying to help and be light on this huge darkness that we have in our industry. And we want to make sure that the consumer and the repair facility are able to get what is righteously owed to them. For you, the consumer, a proper and safe repair following manufacturer's guidelines, and for the repair shop, be able to take care of their employees, be able to have a healthy profit so they can keep investing in their equipment and their training and the main asset, which is their staff. So that's the reason why we started the Ally podcast. And please, if you like this content and you see that provides you any value, we will appreciate if you like and subscribe. That's huge for us. So Andrew, we're going to be talking today about the big tactic that the insurance companies use, which is called delay, deny, and defend. And what can a consumer do to protect themselves when they're being put in these positions and the repair facility or themselves, they're finding us like, this doesn't sound right. They're able to discover what they're doing. So go ahead, Andy.
Well, sure. So we get calls very often. I think they're kind of boiled down to like 2 to 3 different issues. A big one is my car's at a repair shop. I submitted the estimate or the repair plan to the insurance company, and the insurance company came back with like a fraction of what the repair shop says it's going to cost to repair my vehicle. What do I do? And I think the other ones are, I don't want my car repaired with junkyard parts, but my insurance company is saying that's all my policy covers. What do I do? And kind of the third is just almost the opposite situation where maybe they're not at a pro-consumer shop and they're at a insurance company recommended shop and they're unhappy with how the process is going and saying, hey, the work that they're doing doesn't seem right. Maybe they don't, even though I don't know anything about repairs, I'm driving now on the road. I'm hearing wind coming through the doors. What do I do? Because the insurance company told me this was the shop to go to. Then I brought up the issues to the shop and they said, oh, it's all fine. Yeah, we have a lifetime warranty, but everything's fine. So I think those common things of either repair bills that are underpaid or the parts that insurance companies say, hey, your policy doesn't cover that, or we don't have to pay for that. And then just repairs that come sometimes at a lower quality at another shop, and whether the insurance company has any liability to have to continue to pay for repairs.
Yes, and one of the most common ones that we see, at least at Allyz Auto, is like your shop is doing non-industry standard repairs, and he's not charging what is customary for the marketplace. And they always use this word, you may have to pay out of pocket. And that's a call that they get as soon as they drop the car out at our shop to try to scare them. And we feel how disrupted the consumers are after those phone calls. So we try to let them know, hey, you may get a call from the insurance company try to scare you because you are in a what is considered a out of network shop. And unfortunately, they know that we charge more. We're not in a contractual agreement with them, and they cannot bully us because we don't work for them. We work for you. And we want to please you and we want to make sure that we do a proper and safe repair for you. So definitely that's I can we have tons of our calls are recorded in our shop and we feel how the customers are really shaking up after that and they're scared. So this is why this video is being created, this podcast, so you consumer can understand that it's all a game, and the good thing is you got the winning hand in your hand. And if the repair facility is pro consumer, pro fairness, and you have a good ally in your corner, you have what I call a slam dunk. You just got to play the cards right and be able to document everything. And that's why we brought the expert here because I am not an attorney. I'm not giving any legal advice. I'm just a humble service provider who wants to repair cars correctly and help the community of Orlando to do so. So Andrew, fire at it because we there's quite a bit that we want to cover today.
Yeah, sure. So kind of go over the advice that we give to people that call in, and even though you as the repair provider think, hey, this is a slam dunk, all the documentation's there and follow manufacturer's procedures. Unfortunately, even if you follow all the steps I'm about to go over, doesn't mean the insurance company's just going to cave, but it does give you kind of that fighting chance of hopefully getting what you are contractually entitled to with your insurance company. And one of the things that I have found in the insurance world, and it's probably similar across a lot of industries, is just the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And insurance companies are used to kind of steamrolling people just because you're unaware of what's in your policy, you're unaware of what industry standards are or practices, and so it's easy for an insurance adjuster to just kind of say, hey, this is what your policy says, this is what we only have to pay for, this is what another shop would charge compared to the shop you're at. Some of which might be true, some of which is probably a bit of stretching the truth, for lack of a better phrase. So the first thing I always tell people is how many times, or ask people, is how many times have you called? And call again. You need to be, if you care about your vehicle and getting it repaired correctly, and you want to be reimbursed by your insurance company for those repairs, you've got to be on the phone. You've got to advocate for yourself. The repair shop can't do it. I can't do it. It needs to be coming from you, and for a variety of reasons. If it's your own insurance company, they might actually want to keep your business, and it's pretty common that one of the main reasons people switch insurance companies is because they have a bad claims experience with their own insurance company. And so use that to your advantage, even though the claims department's separated from the people on the sales side that are selling the policies. Explain to them how, hey, this is really putting you all in a bad light, and I don't know that I'm going to renew with you because your premiums are paying the person's salary that's on the other end of the line. But call as much as you can, talk to them. But a really important thing is following up every call you do in writing, because so many times I'll hear from somebody, oh, well, some adjuster told me this, and I believe them, but I know if this case was to go into a lawsuit and I was to take the deposition of that adjuster, he or she is not going to admit they told you that. So even if you're just getting voicemails, follow it up in writing. So that one of the things I always tell people is after you call, send an email. If you have an adjuster's email, if you've got just like a general claims email, a lot of the insurance companies now have online portals you can write messages in and tell them, hey, I just called and left a message for the 4th time. I just called again. And those times when you do talk to somebody, even if you think, hey, things seem to be tracking well, maybe it's going the right direction. They told me, oh yeah, we'll look at this. We'll probably pay for that. Put your understanding of that conversation in that email and tell them at the very end of it is if my understanding is incorrect about our conversation, please let me know immediately, because you need to start keeping track of the things that they're telling you. And unfortunately, what you'll probably find is especially with some of the bigger insurance companies, is you're not going to talk to the same person every time. And so you think you're getting somewhere with somebody, you think, maybe you've developed a little rapport and they've actually talked reasonably to you, and then you can never find that person again. And you're busy saying, well, I told, Todd, so-and-so told me, probably never going to get a last name for one. Lucky if you even get a first name, but they told me X and now you're telling me Y. So again, follow up every single call in writing. If you have discussions with them, outline, hey, this is what you told me. This is what I expect. This is, what we're going to do next, what we agreed on. Sometimes you might get a response, sometimes you won't, but you've at least started to kind of keep that paper trail of if things do get derailed. Look, I've been documenting at every step how our conversations have gone, and now you guys are switching, and that, sometimes will help you later down the line.
We see it all the time, Andrew. And one thing that helps a lot is that with a recap of the conversation, and if there's any misunderstandings or I understood you wrong, please get back to me. And that's powerful. And another thing that I'm seeing a lot, Andrew, that is part of the delay tactic. Oh, we cannot get a hold of the party at fault. And I just learned, because I'm trying to educate myself more and more to be able to do this podcast. I didn't know that there was an actual law that was passed not long ago that if they're not able to get a hold of the party at fault, they can just delay the claim and deny it because they were not able to get a hold of the person. And I don't know. I keep seeing that more and more and more. It looks like people disappear off the face of the earth. And only happens on third-party claims that the party at fault hit our customer, and that insurance company typically is not a top-tier insurance company. So I don't know if it's me, but it's a lot of coincidence there.
And it might be. And one thing that you might also have to do is call the person that hit you to say, hey, your insurance company is trying to get a hold of you, and you got to call them back. And as motivation to them, if that third party is not cooperating with their insurance company, the insurance company can deny the claim for that reason. And so what puts your customers in a tough spot is if they push too hard on the insurance company is just going to say, well, now we don't have to pay anything because we didn't, and you can go get it right from our insured because he didn't cooperate in our investigation. So that is a hard thing. And like you said, it's unfortunately probably a game that some insurance companies play of, are they even calling the person? Do they, are they trying that hard to get a hold of them? And then that gives them an out just to not pay anything.
And something else that you mentioned with honeys is how you catch bees. Being really hard on the insurance company and being mean is not going to get you anywhere. And we coach our customers to be as nice as they can be, make sure they're professional, they're courteous, and understand that these people are going to push some buttons to get you upset. Because as soon as you start not being professional, they have the right to end the call and not talk to you because they will. So a lot of our customers get so frustrated that we seen. I'm like, and I'm on a 3-way call with them, Andrew. And I'm like, I tell Mr. Smith, please make sure you keep it professional because Mrs. Morris is doing an excellent job. She's trying to do everything she can to help us, and we need to treat her as she deserves. And you see how that changed the whole atmosphere of the conversation. And then the insurance person is not on the defense that is like, oh, these people want to attack me. No, you just want to ask questions, get answers. You want to find out the information that you need. But as we coach you through the process to ask the right questions, they're going to realize what the call was all about. It is to get the right information so you can get a better outcome on the payout and how they're going to handle it. But Andrew, what would you recommend a customer that dropped the car off at the shop? We prepare an accurate damage analysis report of all the damages, and everything is documented, pictures, OEM research from the manufacturer, how to repair the car. And the insurance company pretty much is just not investigating the claim in in good faith. They're not doing a thorough investigation. And let's say the estimate report that we send them, or the shop of the customer's choice send them, is 75 items, and they're only writing for 30. What would you tell the customer is the best course of action to do to get an actual written denial, and why is so important to try to get that from the insurance company?
Yeah. So on top of the calling and asking the questions like we're talking about and following up those calls and emails is really asking for explanation of every item that they're denying. And unfortunately, there's some insurance companies just won't do it. But you need to push for getting an actual written denial. It's one thing for them just to say, hey, this shop charges too much, or some of the things, these parts are unreasonable, or we shouldn't have to pay for that. But to actually, things do change when an insurance adjuster has to put that in writing. And I think if you can push them to ask for a few things. One, what are you denying? And two, why are you denying it? So again, if it's your own insurance company, then maybe there's something in your policy that says this is why they don't have to pay for it. And that could be. And if that's the case, ask them to point that out. Because if you bought a policy that had some exclusion for certain items, then your insurance company doesn't owe you for it. So again, and most of us have not read our insurance policy until a claim happens, or maybe even after a claim happens, you still don't read it. So ask them and tell them, hey, you need to educate me. What in my policy it says you don't have to pay for this? And if they can point that out to you and it's justifiable, then hey, that's that part of the repair estimate I'm on the hook for, because even if you don't know that's in your policy, if it's in your policy, you're stuck with it. You agreed to it, whether you read it or not. So asking again, what are you denying and why are you denying it? And getting that in writing is so important, because I've seen people have success in pushing for that written denial. All of a sudden things start to get approved because an adjuster doesn't, they might have said some things to you over the phone, but putting that in writing might be a different thing. And so again, if by you showing you're educated, you're pushing for these things and getting them to put it down on a piece of paper and send it to you of, again, what they're denying and why they're denying it. And then also, I think so one, like I said, it could get it just paid because they might not want to do it. And two, it gives you a better understanding of like where the real disagreements are. And then you can evaluate what they're telling you and say, hey, does that make sense? Is that really what's in my policy? Or are they just kind of throwing out made up stuff even though now it's in writing. But it's something that might help you down the future. Like if you start to get a supervisor involved and say, look, your adjuster over here emailed this to me, and we know that's not true. So what are you going to do?
One thing that I learned with one of my coaches, which is Barrett Smith, and we actually have a podcast that is called Insurance Company Best Secrets, Insurance Company's Best Kept Secret. And he taught me this: the worst enemy, Juan, of an insurance company is an informed and an empowered consumer that knows their rights and understands the policy. Because all he can do is hold them accountable to the policy language. That's what they bought, that's what they purchased. As long as they know that, they'll be able to ask the right questions and they'll be able to get what is righteously owed to them within the policy contract. So that's why we tell the consumer, you want to ask nicely. Hey, no problem. You're in all your right to deny the whole claim or part of the claim. But as a consumer, I am entitled to have a written denial. That way I can make an informed decision. And if I need to pay for that portion of my claim, I understand it's part of the contractual agreement. One thing that I've seen a lot of times is people are being told half truths, and they don't tell them, they tell them stuff that is not even in the policy. And unfortunately, it breaks our hearts because the consumers that are more educated, more savvy when it comes to getting the information, put it in an email, and ask the right questions to the insurance company, they're able to show the adjuster, hey, I am an educated consumer. I am not just going to take the crumbs that you're accustomed to do to give to your customers. I'm here and I'm going to protect my rights. And typically that consumer is the ones that the claim goes so much smoother because the adjuster on the other side say, all right, this person knows what's in her policy, knows her rights. I need to do what's right, because at the end of the day, people, we are dealing with licensed professionals that are licensed by the state of Florida. And as professionals, they have a code of ethics and training, and they're supposed to know the law, and they're supposed to be acting in good faith. If they don't act in good faith, then they're jeopardizing their livelihood. And in a really sweet professional way, it's pretty much, you got to do your job, do it right, do it in good faith, don't take advantage of me. If not, I'm gonna be able to make a complaint to the Department of Insurance and put yourself at risk and maybe losing the way you make money and your livelihood. And sometimes that's what it takes in order to get them to understand, hey, I understand that your tactics work with 90% of people, but it's not going to work for me, and I need that denial. So anything else you want to add into that, Andrew?
No, I think, again, just kind of summarize, it just comes back to, like, you need to be your own advocate. And unfortunately, it's in the insurance claim process isn't easy, and insurance policies are very complex, and the law is very complex, and collision repair is very complex. But it's not something that's just going to, unfortunately, gone are the days of you submit a bill and they just say, oh yeah, we'll pay to put your car back as best as humanly possible to how it was before. You've got to fight for it.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's and especially with the new law changes in our state, everybody, if you don't have your head under the sand, you'll know everybody's getting letters from their home insurance, commercial insurance policies. Insurance companies are having a very, very hard time with what's happening in the economy and all the hurricanes and everything that is happening. and they're trying to do what their experts recommend them. It's like, hey, the only way you lose money if you pay the claims. So they're trying to cut as much as possible and only pay as little as possible. And let's face it, they have their partner contractors who are willing to cheat you and deceive you from a proper and safe repair. Um, I've heard many times over the phone that people are told aftermarket parts are better than OEM parts. Aftermarket parts have a better warranty than OEM parts. And it's 100% a lie. And they're telling you this because it's beneficial for them, because they want to keep getting the insurance referral business. So they have to keep severity down, and they want to make sure they play by the rules that the insurance company is telling them, so they can get hundreds of referrals a month. Average class A body shop in the industry that is educated, certified, like Allyz Auto, they're about 10,000 square feet. They're able to do about 60 cars, 40 cars a month. Insurance company prefer shop in the same square footage with less employees. They do 150 up to 200 cars a month. So that tells you that you are not the priority, and doing high quality, high premier repairs is not the priority there. And that's why every time we do post repair inspections, we see how they fail miserably, and they're skimping through the repair because they just want to get the car out and keep their partner happy, which is the insured. And they will not be as thorough and follow the manufacturer's guidelines, when at the end you're going to be the one stuck with the problems. Yeah, they'll give you a lifetime warranty and all this nonsense, but I've seen it at least once a week. We get a customer in our doorsteps. Juan, I heard that you're the person who's going to help me deal with this nightmare that I have in my hands. I got my car repaired. It's been 3 months, and I have issues, and I've been going to the shop that did it, and they keep telling me, oh, it's fine, it's industry standard. But it's not performing correctly, doesn't look right. And I tried to trade it in, and now they're telling me that the car is worth half of what it's worth because of this repair. And it's sad to see that that's happening every day in our industry. Cars that should have been total losses, they're being reconstructed with junkyard parts, aftermarket parts, counterfeit, knockoff parts, and the car should be at the junkyard. And we're going to be making other podcasts that are going to help you how to deal with a total loss situation, because that happens a lot. But this one is as specific for you. If you are doubting, you are like, why my insurance company blindsided me like this, that I'm going to have to pay out of pocket. I thought I could trust the shop of my choice. It's my right as a consumer to take the car to the shop of my choice. Why they're doing this to me is all part of a big plan, and it's called delay, deny, and defend. Andrew.
I think you summed it up well. I think you've got some other resources that are available.
Yes, and we want to
topic, right?
Yes, and we want to share with our customer his 2 books. I know it's hard to see. It's From Good Hands to Boxing Gloves: The Dark Side of Insurance, by David J. Berdinelli. And the other one is Delay, Deny, Defend: Why Insurance Companies Don't Pay Claims and What You Can Do About It, by J.M. Feynman. Both are going to be in the description below. You can go to YouTube, research, put both of those titles and both of the authors' names, and you'll be able to see, that the repair facility that is referring you with this video is because they really care about you, and they care, who the most? You, your car, and their technicians. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to turn our shops to be sweatshops that we are doing subpar work and putting people on harm's way. And that's what's happening in America. And that's why Allyz Community Podcast was born. Our community deserves to be informed and empowered. And that's why we want to make sure that you have the tools and the information so you can exercise your right as a consumer and protect yourself. So if you see that this is beneficial to you and you get some value, please like this video, please subscribe, and share this content with your loved ones. Because Andrew, if you find out about it, that you need this information after you've been in an accident, it's too late, right?
Yeah, if you'll be behind the eight ball, so to speak, and trying to catch up. But yeah, it's important to understand this as much as you can before it happens.
Please, Andrew, can you share your contact information? I know you have some blogs too, and you are an special kind of firm. I know one thing, and this is me, Juan Rodriguez. I've been building a great. He's not only my ally, he's my friend, and I believe in his firm. He's the only firm in this town of Orlando that helps the consumer with their property damage part of a claim. Most of these billboard attorneys, they don't help you at all. They tell you, hey, I just care about getting my money for the lawsuit and the bodily injuries. You're on your own when it comes to the property damage. And Andrew, please cover that in a couple of minutes, because I know that's one thing that differentiates you from all the attorneys that I've been in contact with. And I've talked to a lot of customers that they get into an accident, and the first thing they do, they call the guy in the billboard, and then it's a nightmare because they don't care about helping them. And it's sad because this is all about helping people, making them whole. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Andrew.
So yeah, I'm a personal injury attorney, and I think personal injury claims are very personal, which means that it affects the person that's involved in it. It affects them in a lot of ways and how their life is from this point forward. And I think that a good advocate needs to understand that. So it needs to understand you and spend time with you, me being your attorney. And one of the things that I've always done, and I was taught this by my father, who's the other Irvin of Irvin and Irvin, is if somebody comes to us in an accident, we want to try to help with all the issues that happen from that accident. And that includes the property damage claim. And sometimes, so just having an advocate that will assist you with that as well. And that's whether or not it's something that sometimes we're not even paid any extra on that to help our clients with, but it's something that I strongly believe that if you're in a car accident, I should help you with as many of those issues with your car insurance claim as I can, and not just say, hey, sorry, because I can't make $1 on that claim, you're on your own. So we're again, not always looking to squeeze every single penny out of a client. And like I said, really spending that time and rapport and trying to understand all of the ways that the car accidents affected you and your family.
Yep, and I said I've seen it. We do about 40 to 60 cars a month, and we see it a lot, guys. And having the more allies that you have in your corner, the better. And sometimes when you get involved into an accident, it's something unexpected. You're vulnerable, and the last thing that you want is take advice on how to collect your compensation from the person that owes it to you. They're going to manipulate you. They're going to do whatever they can so they can profit off you. And that's why at Allyz, our promise to the community is to empower them, to educate them so they can make informed decisions. Andrew, do you have any closing thoughts for our Orlando community?
No, just if you want to get in contact with our firm, our website is Irvin, it's IRVIN legal.com. I think Juan will also post. We've got some articles about also, again, how to deal with insurance delays and denials that might be helpful to you and as you try to navigate the process.
Yep. And we got more resources on other podcasts. We got the Turning Victims into Victors. That's a great podcast. And we have another one about a new series that we started, horror stories from a loyal insurance customer. And one of them is one of the customers that you were able to help. His name is Jonathan Torres. Amazing story how from being a victim he become a victor to get what is righteously owed to him. And we were able to, with our team of allies, we were able to help him to get what he was righteously owed. So, hey, if you were able to be here with us, thank you very much for taking the time of watching this video. If you see that this added value to you, please share, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That will definitely be a huge help. And go to Irvin and Irvin Law, Facebook, on social media. He's putting great content so you can be empowered. And hopefully you won't need this information. But if you need it, you know where you are already ahead. So this is Juan Rodriguez wishing you a great day and a blessed rest of the week. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Juan.